Okay, rolling. Right. Wait. Put this here. So we have some idea of time. How's the frame?
Yeah, you like the positioning?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah. So I was asking
Okay,
you.
yeah.
I was asking you about. We were asking you the reason behind creating this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So we were talking about how the surgeon
Yeah.
who actually started this podcast, this his own podcast,
Yeah.
and that part of the reasoning and motivation was because he got a bit jaded with his job of doing surgeries, right? And if he thought about the root cause of whether he's actually helping them, he could have done a lot more that is not actually helping his career as a surgeon, right?
Correct.
So I was actually also telling you that, well, that applies to actually many services, like even as a tutor, right? IB tutor, JC tutor, whatever. If I actually think deeply about, okay, am I actually helping these students? Like, yeah, I'm helping them pass exams,
Right.
of course, and I'm quite good at it. That's why my business grew.
Mm.
But if you think about just like what a surgeon thought about, I'm just helping these students to actually fit better in the system that we're in, right? And do I actually want that? Honestly speaking, no. I want the students to actually think more than that. But I'm not doing anything strong, right, in my lessons that actually would really enable them to think out of the box, and except for just passing or doing well for the exams. Yeah.
Correct. So since you're reflecting on that,
No, I have not reflecting deeply about that
okay,
because
but
if we go down that rabbit hole, right, it might
yeah,
affect
yeah,
my motivation for doing what I'm doing. So I can think of just very superficial. We
Okay.
can talk about it, but I don't think it will reach a point that I have to do something to really
Okay.
help them leave the system. I'm very jaded with the system as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your initial reaction is like, okay, don't go deeper because like then it might affect your motivation.
No, I can go deeper, but I will like kind of like what do you call it? Compartmentalize
Yeah,
like my
okay.
own
Okay.
stake of this, right,
Right.
from this conversation about it.
Right.
But it's a very interesting conversation. It can be applied to doctors,
Yep.
educators,
Yep.
and a lot of service stuff, a lot of service
Yeah.
industries.
Yeah, most industries actually. I mean, like same for me, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I always tell my friends is like, I sell wine, but
Yeah.
but to be honest, if somebody told me, they're trying to cut down alcohol, I'll be like, yeah, you should, you actually should,
Yeah.
right? And less is better and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a difficult thing. I think that so many jobs you have this dilemma, right?
Actually, even not just services, food and beverages as well.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
You want to make it taste good, okay? Then
Totally.
health wise, okay. How
Correct.
much salt, how much stuff to put in?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why for me, like, the more I eat, the more I dine. Like, that's why I eat mostly at home now because I know what I put inside the food. And so like I recently my mom's birthday, I cooked her like just like peng chai, like this Chinese New Year dish, and I didn't add any sugar, didn't add no added salt, no added sugar. It's just the ingredients, and people eat it and they're like, oh, why is it so tasty? And like, if you sauce correctly,
Yeah.
it could be good. But obviously, as a professional chef, even if you sauce correctly, you would probably still use your techniques to enhance it further because you really want that wow factor, right?
Yeah.
And somebody eats there, you want to make sure they're coming back. So, but then the problem is, a lot of food that we have are not great ingredients. So they have to use very artificial methods to make it taste good.
Yeah.
Right? Your fast foods and all that.
Yeah.
And you're brought up from young, right? Being exposed to this. I think us, not so much of an extent. Obviously, our parents way less, but then the next generation worse, right? Because I go, when I meet my friend, and they're feeding, his little kid like some I don't know, some very high end like honey stars. It's like honey stars, but it's like blueberry flavored.
Okay.
And you open this thing, and he's like, "Oh, my son loves this thing." I opened this thing. I kid you not, it was here. I can smell it. It's so strong. Like no natural blueberry would taste this strong, right? So yeah, it's tough, but going back to the topic about the education and how to really actually help them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, recently what I'm trying to experiment and see whether it's possible to do is like maybe some sort of like preschool.
Okay.
Some sort of preschool. I think we mentioned this.
Yeah.
It before. And like basically the main focus is nutrition. right? So I was just talking to a chef friend of mine who has some restaurants here, and like the argument is like, look, before basically kindergarten, there is not really any real education.
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe some sort of guided stimulation,
Yep.
but there's no education per se.
Okay.
So what is the difference? What would be the defining factor of whether somebody would develop correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Would most likely be the marginal difference would be the food
Okay.
in the modern world, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you send somebody to Montessori or some other
Mm-hmm.
playhouse or
Yeah.
whatever methodology that they have, I don't suspect there is going to be a marginal difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more.
But that's not what they're selling. Of course, they will sell that, my curriculum is...
Correct. That's not what they're selling.
And the things that they will... I mean, it could be partially true. They can hire PhDs in brain, neuroscience, whatever, education, whatever, and they can have some kind of pedagogy, right, that can actually improve the development faster or help develop faster. It could be. But I don't think any of them will be selling the food part, right?
No, they're not.
Or promoting that as a plus point.
No,
a big plus point.
Not even close. Not even close. I mean, like you be paying in the high end place, you'll be paying like 3,000 plus a month.
Ooh.
Right, for like a 2-year-old kid.
Okay.
And they're feeding them oats and me time up.
Okay.
Right? So obviously the cost is not going to the food, it's going to other stuff, right? Having a nice venue in Bukit Timah and like nice buildings and spaces to teach and the teachers obviously, but yeah, so I mean I already went through most of them. I've even asked them like, look, if I want a specially craft diet for my kid, like can you do it? Can I pay for it? And then initially they were like, yeah, we have one location that we can adjust. But when I went there, it was actually more adjusting to like allergies.
Oh.
So they weren't really like customize the food for you. They're more like, okay, if you can't eat this, then we'll just give you a replacement that we already formulated and have it already. So still not ideal stuff. Like, if they can't eat some, like nuts or something, they'll just omit it and replace it with still carbs heavy food. So not ideal. And yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to the kids, what I keep hearing like nowadays, I'm sure it was maybe true before, and I don't have the data point, but like most of my friends that have kids, they're always saying, oh, there are two comments usually. One is like, don't send your kids too early. I mean, the real reason for that is because they just keep falling sick. The kids get falling sick.
You mean like if they were sent to the...
Yeah, because in the school, one kid gets sick, everyone gets sick.
Okay.
And so every like 2-3 months, the kid is falling sick.
Okay.
And so they are just constantly sick. And I'm like, this can't be correct, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a kid, but if you think back, maybe not for ourselves, but I'm sure even in rural regions in the world, these kids are playing in the mud, playing in the in the wilderness, and they're not falling sick every 2-3 months.
Okay.
So what can be a contributor, right?
Yeah, it could be the food.
I would think, of course, not just food, environmental, pollution,
mixing them,
all this type of stuff. But I think in Singapore we're relatively clean, relatively like unpolluted in terms of water, air. We're pretty good on that. So what it's more like, maybe the nutrition is not good enough for the child to grow a decent immune system. And I was just using my own example to like elucidate that, because like, I mean, yeah, sure, as an adult and a child is slightly different, but for me, like before, like when you were teaching me, for example, like in that time, I was, maybe I fall sick every 4 or 5 months, something like that. But for me now, after I've changed, I'm sure it's not just one factor. I've changed a couple of things. I haven't gone to the doctor in like 5 years, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, since before COVID, I haven't gone to.
What were the top 3 things you feel that you have made a change, right? That contributed to that.
So I mean, I think the answer is it's quite clear, and most people would probably echo the same thing.
Okay.
And it's actually, it sounds very simple, but it's just good sleep, good nutrition, and probably not, as long as you don't have very high level of stress, you're good.
But good nutrition, I know that it takes time to adjust and it takes more research and way more effort. But when you say good sleep, how do you make adjustment to ensure that you're good sleep besides allocating time, right, to sleep?
Yeah.
Are there
So-
things that you did that can give you a better sleep?
Yes. Okay, so I think the first step is, yeah, again, I'm probably echoing the same advice as most experts out there would say, but it's like you have to have a standardized, rough routine. Because your body has a clock,
Yep.
right? So if you one day you sleep at 9, another day you sleep at 11,
Okay.
so it doesn't work. Like for me, if I sleep at, like yesterday I was out
Yep.
late
Okay.
because I didn't have a choice, but so I slept at maybe 12:30,
Okay.
but I still wake up at the same time, which is like 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so the point is your body's still gonna wake up. You're not gonna have optimal amounts of sleep, but your body's just gonna, do what it can
Okay.
to like so that you can carry on the next day and whatnot, because that's the adaptation.
So
of
one
the
of the things
body.
that the routine of having a sleeping hours
Correct.
routine.
Because your
That's one
body
thing.
has a clock. Your body
Okay.
has a clock. So I think that's one of the things. The other thing is actually the timing really makes a big difference.
Timing.
The timing, like when you sleep.
So the fixed timing thing,
No, actually the actual time. Like if you sleep late,
or the length of time you sleep.
even
Okay.
even if you sleep late, let's say if you sleep from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m.,
yeah.
that's 8 hours. Or if you sleep from 8 p.m. to like
Yeah.
for the same equivalent
Yep.
amount of time to like 6 a.m.
Okay.
Totally different.
Okay.
It'll be totally different.
This
like,
the circadian
yeah, it's your body's
rhythm
clock.
kind of thing.
It's
Okay,
your
okay.
body's clock. So technically, if you adjusted a lot of things, you
Yep.
could theoretically have good sleep from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. But you have to do a few things.
Okay.
First thing is, when you sleep, obviously if you wake up at 10 a.m., the sun will have risen,
Yep.
and all that. You will have to have a blackout room,
Yep.
like totally blackout, soundproof,
So I heard of that
and
before
that type of
as well.
stuff. So if you do that, you probably could get it more optimized.
Yeah.
If you have no choice, for example, if you work some European hours in Asia or something, maybe you have no choice. Potentially it could work, but then again, then everything would change because you can't change like when the sun rises and sets. So your body uses that as an indicator. Obviously, most of us are in the office most of the time nowadays, so your body actually doesn't really know whether it's day or night. It just thinks it's day all the time. But say if you actually saw the sunrise and the sunset, and you blacked out your room and you slept at 2 to 10, but then your body then saw sunset, instead of 16 hours later, it was 10 hours later.
Yeah.
It will still screw up your circadian clock, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little bit like when you jump time zones, you go to another country.
Yep.
Right? You just sometimes you just can't sleep.
Yep.
Because your time is already set.
Correct.
Yeah, so even if you try to force yourself, it's a bit hard. So
good
sleeping,
nutrition, good sleep, and stress, basically.
Yeah, stress I think is a really big one, but I think that's the most difficult one to define, because everyone will just say, no stress, or I can handle it.
And difficult to find a single solution for copy and pasting to somebody else. But you say good nutrition, good sleep, you can replicate that to somebody else easily. You can tell them exactly what to do. But stress is the one that you can't say, you do this means you won't be stressed, because you stress in different ways, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it comes from all sorts of sources.
Also, sometimes some people are not aware as well,
Oh, that's the
scariest
one.
You might think you are not
exactly,
stressed, but you are. And so I think that's tough, right? Sleep and nutrition, I think those are, just from my own experience, it seems to be really, really helpful to do like 60-70% of the way there. Because, for example, just looking at the last 4 or 5 years, like from just a small sample size, maybe myself, Agnes, and my dad, like we could go on a holiday or like a trip for like 2-3 months, not really have any like formal exercise, means you don't go to the gym or whatnot. Maybe there's some walking in the city or whatever, eating, until you're full, eating some dessert, taking some wine, but then coming back and then weighing yourself and having the same body composition, same body fat, same muscle mass, same weight, which is unusual because if you talk to any probably professional working person in the world, as you get older, you're probably just gonna put on weight anyways. Like, not because you did anything different, more than your metabolism maybe is getting a bit slower and whatnot, but for me, in my experience, is like, yes, I've trained before, so maybe I gain some of what I lost because I have optimal nutrition now.
Okay.
So for example, I went through a period where I was like not exercising much, but because I was like eating a fair bit of protein and fat per day, the composition of the muscle actually increased. Right. And there's other like data points to suggest that, because like I play golf, so in relative terms, for some, you don't play golf, so in relative terms, it's like if I hit it X distance, like I probably increase my distance by like 20 to 30%.
Okay.
And I'm not doing like formal training
Yeah.
to actually increase the speed, which is quite incredible actually.
Nutrition, I think there's a lot about nutrition.
I think nutrition
The one is
is
a very big part.
one. Correct.
So you, before the this podcast, right, you were thinking about some topics that you want to talk about. I mean, we did say some general stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like career, dating, whatever. Do you actually have specific things you thought about? Or not?
No, actually, I haven't. But I would say that just on the topics of things that we want to talk about, in the recent weeks, I've been really into, well, I always had this thinking. So this thinking is, for you doing your own business, I think the thinking is similar. It's if you have excess capital, you invest in yourself, invest in your businesses and yourself.
Okay.
Which I think that is something I still believe in.
Yes.
But I think I didn't really understand the concept of what I was saying, which was it actually encompasses investing in the things that you believe in that you might not be involved in as well.
Sorry, again.
So when I say invest in yourself, it's not just invest in the very direct meaning of yourself, which is you, your skill sets, and your businesses. But investing in what you believe in that you might not be directly involved in.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So for example,
you say like philanthropy kind of things,
not really.
Okay.
It's still quite selfish in some degrees, but it's like, so for example, the very concept of like investing in like equities, for example.
Okay.
For a long time I was like, my thinking was, all these institutional places, they have hordes and hordes of like researchers and quants and all that. Like, how can I beat them, right?
Okay.
From a business standpoint, I'm thinking they have an army of people working. I can't edge them out, right? I only have how many hours in a day?
Yep.
But then I come to realize that actually, even then, so there's still a lot of value to be had.
Okay.
Because even though the hedge funds and all these institutions are so big, they still can't actually manipulate the markets. And also, just as data point, not even knowing like the technicals of how they can edge you, it's pretty clear that one can make the money multiply.
Okay.
Like just from historical data, of course, but also very recent historical data. So I had this thought, which is, I'm just looking at the historical data, so I just had this thought. I was like, in our parents' time, if they, let's say 15 years ago, so they already have a cash pile, some sort of cash pile.
Yeah.
And obviously, with most people, it's like, okay, we had to put it in a safe place. Maybe it's a fixed deposit or something like that. Or I don't know.
HDB,
or property,
In the past,
could be property.
It was a very big safety net, plus it appreciated. It was most of our generation.
I think in that generation, property definitely delivered the results. I can
not
agree.
anymore.
Not anymore, because we are facing population decline for sure, and also oversupply. I think do both. Both double whammy. So the thing is, if any of our parents, for example, 15 years ago, which is not, they're probably, in the prime of their working career.
Okay.
They have a fair bit of leftover cash. Other than investing in property, they still have some. Right. Let's say 20% of their portfolio. It won't be a crazy amount. But and if you put it in something really safe, let's talk about super safe, like S&P 500.
Okay.
So that's basically just the composite of the 500 most valuable companies, right? Do you know how much it made in the last 10 years? If you put 10 years ago, if you put the money, you know how much it made?
Annual, or you're saying
total?
The past 10 years,
yes.
S&P?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Rough guess?
100%?
No, 3.5 times.
So 300+%.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's quite a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a lot. And if you invest in something similar, which is the NASDAQ,
Let me do a quick calculation.
annualizer.
Yeah. I'm looking at 7% multiply.
I'm pretty
7%
sure
10 times.
it's like, I don't know, it's definitely way more than anything you can get anywhere else.
7%, right? So wait.
If I'm not okay, NASDAQ, I'm very sure it was four times. 4 times. So 400%. 400% over 10 years.
Oh.
So if you divide, what is the per annum return rate?
Yeah.
The formula, you probably can find it.
7%. I'm just gonna look at 7% first.
Okay.
I can't do the
It's okay.
1.07.
Oh, you want to put the brackets, right?
Okay, times 1.07. That's 2 times. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. 300 plus is way more than.
Way more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about 15.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
Should
That's
be
my
around.
feeling.
No,
That's my feeling.
slightly less than that.
Yeah, maybe
it's a range from around 10 to maybe 13%.
Yeah.
Annualized, yeah.
So that's very safe. But then we go one step further. So we say we are taking a little bit more risk. And let's say the blue chip stocks,
Okay.
right? 10 years ago. And these are really blue chip.
That's safer than.
No, I won't say safer because you're putting all your eggs in one basket.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
S&P is the composite,
Okay.
or NASDAQ is the composite of all the tech firms.
Okay.
So if you take, so let's say if you took a little bit more risk, you say, okay, I allocate 60% to NASDAQ or S&P.
Okay.
And 40% I put in one individual stock,
Okay.
but a blue chip.
Okay.
Let's say Microsoft. Okay,
Okay.
Microsoft is super blue chip.
Okay.
10 years ago, it's already
Yeah.
30 years on the stock exchange. Right? More than, 30 years on the stock exchange. So nobody will be like, oh my God, you're gambling your money. I think, I don't know the number, but I know Microsoft now is $3 trillion of market capitalization.
So like a stock like that, okay.
So I would believe it's at least 10 times.
Okay.
Minimum 10 times. So if you did the allocation, so 40% of your things would now become times 10, and 60% would be times 4, for example. So that 20% would now probably be 80% of your portfolio. And so the first thing that would change your mind, and because of this thinking, it changes my mind, which is, so if my excess capital can potentially out earn whatever I can do, at least in the short term and mid term, then anything I do today has to, in the long term, beat that. It has to be that. It has to be that. If not, it's a waste of my time. It's basically I failed in my opportunity cost analysis or whatever you want to call it. So then again, now we obviously hindsight is perfect. So we can't say that we knew what is going to happen. But I think we can say something of today, which is, so I was talking to some friends, and actually it makes it really, really obvious why you should put in equities, because of one thing, and that's called inflation. And inflation due to what? Due to debasement of currency. Means like basically printing, right? And Americans are doing this at a furious pace, right? So actually what they did was they did a correlation of like federal printing against the S&P 500.
Against the S&P's
like
value.
they're correlating the, like how much they print, how much the S&P rise.
Okay.
The correlation is like 93%.
Oh.
So, and adjusted for debasement, if I'm not wrong, don't quote me on this, but
so real values basically.
The real value actually, the gains would be nominal, much more nominal than what we said, which is 3 times, 4 times seems a lot. But after you factor in this debasement, it's basically just maybe 2, 3. I mean, I don't know.
Less
2-5% per year. But so the point is, the best way to beat this inflation is to have assets that outgrow inflation. Obviously, they are inflating because they charge for goods and services and all that. So for me, it's like that's the best hedge, because if anyone tells me like, hey, look, I'm putting in a fixed deposit, I'm like, look, unfortunately, you're losing money. Right? You might think you're actually earning money, but you're actually not. So
and most people they do it.
They do it. Correct. And so and so going back to the same point, which is like, why do they do that? That's probably a very easy answer to that, because again, most people might have thinkings like, oh, the stock market is uncertain. There's so many professional players out there. I might.
Nah, I don't think that's the reason why they don't go into the stock market.
Oh, what do you think is
I think
risk aversion?
it's much simpler than that. Like everybody knows that, like, theoretically they should invest in stocks, at least in Singapore. Like, they know that the banks, right, are giving very dismay kind of rates, like for savings rate, right? So the least you can do is to actually put into FD, fixed deposit, or actually like invest in something, right? And that something is stocks, and digital wise is actually very easy to do. The main reason why I think people are not doing it is because, right, number one, they have no success case, right? That nobody, no close friend or family to tell me, hey, this is how you do it.
Actually, you're probably much. Yeah, you're
Like
very
this
close to
is
the
how you
case,
do
right?
it, and I can show you the ropes, right? Any problem, just let me know. This is exactly what black and white what I did, and some losses, some gain, but overall I'm getting this percent every year.
Right,
So they don't have this realistic picture of, if I put my money there, what am I gonna do, right? And will it really grow or not? Is it safe or not? And most people, they also feel that any agents or even insurance agents, right, or financial planners ask them, hey, put some money in ILP, even though you're paying for insurance as well, but there's still some investment compared to like no investment at all. They assume it's a scam. They assume like, oh, whatever I put in the money, right, they're just out to get my money. I will not actually gain anything. I just
Right.
could lose in the long run.
Right,
So they don't have somebody to actually guide them, right? And there's too many resources online, right, that they don't even know how to start. That's why they're not starting. But people who I know that actually starts, right, they will start it for a long time already. Once they start, they very rarely will stop playing stocks anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same because like
Mm.
just in the last couple of months, as I look at it, I'm like, how can anyone not do this? Like,
It's a
it's
clear
almost
thing that you
plain-
must do.
almost
How it
plain.
started, right? For me, there are people like
I
me.
mean, you invest in equity.
Definitely, I invest a lot in equity.
But
So
mostly in any particular markets or?
mostly in US.
Yeah,
So I do have like a
in
few
US.
others, but mostly in US.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
my,
makes
my how I
sense.
started is because, right, I've always wanted to do stocks,
Okay.
but I didn't have the capital to do it. So I felt that when I have like 10K, right, there's no
Yeah.
point in investing in stocks, right? Because all the exchange fees and all the transaction
Right.
costs, right,
Right.
will eat up into your margins, right?
Yeah.
So a 2%, sorry, a 5% gain, right, gets eaten up by a $25 transaction fee. So when I had not enough capital, I didn't want to do stocks. Plus, when I started to have capital already, I was like, okay, nobody I know close to me that can tell me, that I can trust, that, oh, people tell me like I gain 50% in stocks. Then I times two my money.
Right.
But I don't buy all this unless you are very
Yeah.
close to me. I know what you're doing, right?
Correct.
So nobody that close in my life that actually guided me and tell me that, oh, this is how you do it, and it's sure must do.
Okay.
How I did it was from a lot of YouTube videos and reading, right, from young. So I knew that you must do this. It's just that I just need to like spend 1 month researching which is the best platform, which best broker before I actually get my hands wet.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I started.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would assume that most people won't go through the process. They won't actually spend 1 month to go and research, right, and start the stocks investment. And you do have people close to them to actually tell them. Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, we should move into this topic since we have common interests.
Oh.
So what is your view upon the stock market now and like the tech giants, for example?
I mean, I think that after COVID, right, okay, there was a very big during COVID actually, there was a very big investments into I would say tech, right? But it only started to soar pretty quickly, right after the lockdowns.
Okay.
Sorry, after the whole lockdowns.
Yeah.
That means they removed the lockdowns. When they relaxed it, when people realized that COVID is disappearing soon, that's where there's a big rise. But I think that rise, right, at least for now, I think it's inflated. And I think that everybody's been saying this for years already. They say they're waiting for a crash.
Right.
But they're trying their very best, right, to pump money and to prevent that.
Correct.
So that fall, right, will never be a boom.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's going to be a very big boom, right, unless something big event gets triggered.
Right.
So this fall, they try to make it, right, in trenches.
Yeah.
Not a one-off big fall, but it's going to be a fall here, and then after that, another fall. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be within 1 month, 2 months, 3 month kind of thing.
Right.
That's why I feel and I think that there's no way as us, right, the masses, to actually know what these people are going to do.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to spot. So you want to do any stock investment now, you must always think 5 to 10 years, right? Or at least minimum 3, right?
Yeah.
So if it falls now, no, doesn't matter, because you know that in 3 years' time or 5 years, this is solid business model. Is going to rise eventually anyway. So this is how I actually view stock market right now, especially tech. Which tech I think can survive in the next 5 years, for example. Yeah.
So you're very bullish, obviously, on.
I'm quite bullish on stocks generally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you bullish in general to like the Max 7 or?
No. So basically, I look at I don't do technical analysis much.
Yeah.
I do a lot of economic fundamental analysis. Yeah. So I look at the econs behind it, basically.
Right.
And I look at politics as well.
Okay.
So some things, for example, I look at Alibaba, then I look at Tesla, whatever.
Yeah.
I will not just look at the numbers, right? Your PE ratio,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
things.
yeah.
I look at more things like
Me too.
right now the price, right? Okay, right? Is it a rising trend, falling trend? Is it a good time to go in now? Then if it's a good time right now, that's one of my check boxes I'll take. Second thing is political risk.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
there some big political reason, right, why this stock might disappear, right, in the next 5 years? Or any governments want to bring them down, right, in the next 5 years in certain markets? That's my second thing.
Okay.
Something that is very hard to, something that the technical analysis won't show you.
Yeah.
Completely won't show you. The
Yeah.
political risk. Then the last one is the economic reasons, right, of the business model, like what is selling. In 5 years' time, right, or 3 years' time, right, do you think this will be just as popular, or you think it's fading? That kind of things. But that will be most of my money into this kind of stocks, like
Yeah.
fulfill these three criteria:
Yeah.
timing to enter,
Yeah.
economic reason, and political risk.
Yeah.
Then there are, like, I would say 20% or 10% of my equities portfolio, right, that there's to play lah, basically.
Yeah, it's just a gamble or something.
I would say it's a gamble. Like it's a very big drop. Now I feel that, oh, it's so cheap now. I just buy without much thought.
Okay.
Then that kind of thing lah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I dabble a little bit of gambling as well.
One of such stocks recently was Nike. I bought Nike.
They say it's very cheap now.
I think 3 months ago. Yeah, it's super cheap.
Now.
So I bought Nike, and again, this was one of my, like, it's a timing thing lah. So it fulfills the timing very good because it's very cheap. Plus, I thought about the political risk. I don't think Nike is going anywhere. In fact, recently, right, the Olympics, right, they have enough political clout, right, to influence, like, players or NBA players, right, who can make it to the Olympic USA team.
Right.
So, for example, there's this star called Kawhi Leonard.
So
there's been some controversy about why he's not included. He's quite a good player.
Oh.
And he's excluded because of some kind of, like, Nike influencer.
Okay.
Some kind of thing.
He's not sponsored by Nike.
So the fact that there's such a power, that means Nike is not going anywhere in the next 5 years or 10 years. They have enough political, like, backing, right, to to remain in incumbent position that they have right now. Yeah. And last is economic reason. Like, I mean, they're selling sports apparels, so it's not going anywhere. So even if it goes down, right, it won't be going down all the way to So that's why I bought it. A bit of an impulse, but
I've seen a few of these videos on why Nike should be a buy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've seen it. I've been recommended, but I'm super bullish on AI. Yeah. I'm super bullish on tech.
Oh, this stock called Palantir?
Yeah.
PLTR. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so happy this year, man.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting this for a long time since 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I bought, I think, your Palantir stocks, right? Yeah. Because of the very strong economic reason.
Right.
And political reason, right? Because they actually hold many of government, defense contracts, many projects, and it took me a long time to see the results because I bought it at like 16. Yeah. 16, yeah. Now it's like 26, 27. Yes, and I bought it when it was falling. I keep buying it. I never let it go. Like it fell to, like, I think 12. I can't remember. Yeah, it fell. Yeah, so I keep buying. Then after that, right, most recently this year, I made my first sale because it rose to a level that I want to get some profits first, right? So this is one such thing that I'm very big on, same as you, like AI tech. So
and one thing layered on top of the AI stocks and the big companies is stocks that are basically owned or run by, like, the founder itself. Oh. Because I feel like there's this extra drive when the person has real skin in the game, right? So, like, Tesla, Palantir, for sure. Like, basically, I love somebody that's betting on himself. Yep. Right, I'll bet on them. So I think there's an extra edge to it for sure. But more than anything, I think the AI thing it's really gonna speed up the rate of progress by magnitudes, because, like, you're just talking about, like, R&D, for example. Your R&D life cycles for, like, let's use an example, like, producing new chemical compounds. You literally have to run experiments. Now you can actually simulate these experiments, chemical folding, protein foldings, and all that. Okay. In the simulated space. Okay. At light speed. Okay. Because they'll run it in parallel. Okay. So instead of literally having many labs doing an experiment, in the simulated world, you can have an n number of labs. Okay. Running n number of experiments. Okay. And so your life cycles would probably cut down. If it was 10 years, it'd be 1. Okay. And so things will just move so quick. And the thing is, So there's two very main things that I think AI, you know, is the next level of AI that's coming. You have all the big guys, all the big players that are all gunning to create general AI. I think that is the holy grail, but only those guys can gun for it because they have all the resources.
Okay.
You need big data centers and you need a lot of investment. And only because the chips have become so good now that they actually have a possibility to do that. And then you have people who are going to use AI in very specific situations that are applicable to real life. So for example, ChatGPT and everyone who is doing some optimization from using AI, like Meta uses it for ads, I think Google as well. And these are only optimizations. So you can, obviously it's good for the business, it will increase their revenue maybe 20-30% or save them costs, right? But it's not going to be a magnitude of change.
Okay.
A magnitude of change is when you have a real world application. So for example, like Palantir, you have real world application because you're using AI now for defense, right? And in the case of maybe Tesla, you have like robo-taxi, which in China, and when they're really trying to roll it out. The robo-taxi, at the end of the day, whatever you want to say, to the non-consumer, the answer is very simple. It's not about right or wrong. It's about the robo-taxi, how much? 1/3 the price. Oh, take it. So these guys are just taking the robo-taxis in China because it's so cheap. And the government of China is saying, yes, this is fair game. Because they can charge it. Because the guy you don't need to pay the guy, there's no insurance, all these other things. And so these are the things that will bring upon the next change. So if you look at all these guys saying like bullish predictions and all that, like, on surface value, you're like, yeah, this guy's full of bullshit. And he's just, hot for the stock or whatever. But when you actually look at just very basic calculations, like if a humanoid robot were to replace, so there's 7 billion humans, were to replace, how many billion of humans are doing manual labor, for example? Let's just say 1 billion, okay? If that 1 billion of people are replaced by humanoid robots, that 1 billion of robots, if you sell a robot for whatever, put a very reasonable number out there, $10,000. It will not be $10,000. It will be more like $30,000 to $50,000 minimum for a very cheap robot. And you times 1 billion, what is the valuation of the company going to be? Then what is the market capitalization going to be?
But you also must consider the risk of whether or not the governments, right, will even employ such a technology, right?
Correct.
That can replace vast amounts of people in short time. They will consider that risk as well. So there could be growth, but it take time.
Correct. So there's definitely some, we'll say, practical problems, because obviously if you replace a whole swath of people working, they will have no jobs. They will have, it will cause unrest and all these other things. But I would think the first jobs that will replace are the jobs that are very high risk.
Okay, so like dangerous.
Very dangerous, in the digging in the oil well, some mine or something. And even though those guys who are doing it, they are willing to, risk their body and their lives to make a big sum of money. And so the cost analysis for the operator is very simple. It's like, this is the amount of money I'm paying for the human. The robot will be 1/10 the price. And the robot will be able to work 24 hours. That's the thing. So it's going to be a no-brainer, right? Unless there's going to be legislation that actually stops it.
It's going to be a no-brainer for the industry for sure. It's just whether or not there's legislation to stop it.
It's a no-brainer. And if you look at the stance of US, I think it's getting pretty clear. I don't know about the Democrats, but at least for the Republicans and Trump, it's pretty clear that in order to maintain supremacy in the world, they must be relevant in terms of creating the most amount of GDP. And in order to do that, they must be the home of AI. They must be the home of whatever, any type of tech, crypto, whatever. They have to be the home of that. Because at the end of the day, with 300 million people, right, there's no way you can generate so much GDP unless you value add. You're doing value add industries, right? Primary, secondary industry is not going to work.
Yeah, that's actually a very good reason, right? To talk about, like, for any stock investors, right? Tech will never go away because of the US need, right, to be at the top of their game in tech world. Therefore, investing in tech stocks, right, listed in US, right, it's a no-brainer. It's just which one to.
It's a no-brainer. Plus, if you look at just very basic data, like the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange value is equivalent to like probably all the 3 European exchanges plus.
Oh, actually, this
Something
convo is very
like
good. This thing that you just mentioned actually is a very big thing.
Yeah.
The fact that US, right, they really know that they have to be a top of the game for the tech, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's AI or whatever, right? Is actually a very good reason to invest in stocks, tech stocks in the US.
Yeah.
It's actually a very big point.
It is.
But we
now
said
you
it
think about
in such a trivial or such
Yeah.
a matter of fact way, like
Right.
but it's actually something that people don't think about. Like I
Yeah.
didn't think about like this in this way until you actually said it, which is it's a very big point I think that we should like emphasize again, and that's why I'm saying it again. It's a very good point. It's a very good point.
Really. I mean, I shot myself in the sense that, like I said, if you talk to me about stocks 4 months ago, I'll be like, no way.
Oh,
No, really. I mean, no way in the sense that I'm like, why I should just put money in myself and things I'm doing. Why should I invest in somebody else's company? Right? In that sense, a little bit in that line. But now I'm like, but these things are actually going to bring in really a lot of value. Plus, on top of the fact, it's like I don't need to do much, and I don't even need, like the joke I say to my friends is like, if you blindfolded yourself and you put a few targets out in front of you, and each of them represents one of the magnificent 7, and you just blindfolded yourself and threw like 3 darts, whatever you land, you will earn money. And it's probably true. It's probably more true than anything. And
that's because of the way we invest. We are not day traders that close opens in. And we look at the numbers.
I mean, day traders, if you look at it from a technical analysis, I'm not going to say technical, just from an analysis of what a day trader is doing, it's basically you're arbitraging market inefficiency.
Yes.
That's what so you're not creating value.
Yes.
You're basically just scalping value. That's what they do. They literally call it scalping. So.
I know, but they can say it's scalping, but there are some traders, right, who do it like a little bit more slicker. They don't call it scalping. It's a bit more technical analysis, but that is something we don't do. That's why we can say it doesn't take much time. Because we invest in a more like a mid-term kind of like thinking, right? Or long-term thinking, right? That's why.
True. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're trying to build a portfolio and you have very limited resources, and day trading might be a way to like build up some sort of base. But once you have some sort of reasonable base, right, a reasonable quantum, then time will be your friend more than anything.
So a lot of young people who want, like almost all my students, right, they take it for a fact, right, for themselves that eventually they will sure invest in stocks. I've always asked my students, so any of you invest in stocks now? And a lot of them are very curious, right, to know what it's about. But I don't think when they grow up, even like get older, right, I don't think most of them will invest in stocks.
Correct.
So what would you say, right, to people who are, maybe they are in university, they are below 25, about to graduate or have graduated, and they are just started working or earn some simple income, right? What's the minimum amount of capital they should put into the stockbroker, right, before they start investing in stocks? So how much they should have, you feel that they can ready to start?
So I actually saw this stat. I mean, not stat, it's a calculation. And it's actually quite fascinating.
Okay.
Especially for a younger person, it's fascinating because it's like, okay, the time you can basically save like $200-$300 per month, that's probably when you start. So if you cumulatively every month you just put into the stock. 200, like
I heard of this before. Yeah.
And you compare it to a lump sum entry. The difference is actually not that big.
Wait, there's a name for this. What's it called?
I can't remember it, but you know what I mean.
No, there's a name for this. It's a very famous one. How can I forget this?
Yeah, there's a name for it, but I forget.
Oh my god, I can't remember this. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so it's going to first. I think the first reason why they don't do it.
Wait, so how much again? You say every month? How much?
I don't know. I think around $200-$300
for the person.
Yeah, you can start already.
Okay.
And compared to a lump sum, it's actually quite nominal, the difference. And the thing is, I think the reason we say again why people don't invest is because they say, it's only $200-$300. Like, it's not going to amount to anything. But if you put $200-$300, okay, I know it personally myself. It's simple math, but it's still something that makes you realize, holy shit, actually, the money it's the power of saving and then putting it somewhere where you can compound. It's crazy. So, like, my dad bought like a policy, insurance policy. It's not that the insurance policy was great and get a lot of returns. It's just that for this policy, any insurance, you pay a set amount per month. Right, X dollars.
Dollar cost averaging.
Yeah.
It's called
dollar cost averaging, correct. So and actually, because when you do dollar cost averaging, actually, right, your timing of the market is good because you will never. So actually, there was another another stat that's really fascinating.
You know the purpose of the dollar cost averaging out, the math behind it. It's trying to reduce the risk of entering the market in an untimely.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Exactly. So this other stat is very fascinating. So they say if you invested for a span of 20 years or something like that, and you, let's say you just like dollar cost averaging, what's your gain is X, right?
Yes.
Then the next bar is basically you didn't invest in 10 days of the best days of the market.
Oh, yeah.
Just 10 days.
Correct.
And the value was like 40% less.
Yes, I saw that before.
And then the next one was like 20 days and it was like a lot
dollar
less.
cost averaging actually is a sure must, but personally I don't even do it for most of my stocks. So the thing is that as a young trader, right, they want to have minimum resistance, right, to enter stock market, right? So even before they enter doing this kind of dollar cost averaging, whether it's a weekly basis or monthly basis, right, you say $200-$300 per month. But the action of doing it every month, right? Not everybody have the discipline to do it, right?
Correct. So, but now you can do things like auto invest.
I know.
So literally, they direct debit.
Correct, but
you can just put it in.
Yeah, true. I agree. But then again, what about somebody who I think most of them will be like, okay, how much money should I put in first, and then I start to trade. Whether it's one stock, two stock, right? How much should I have, right? How much should my portfolio be to put into the platform for me to be ready to trade? If you say even the monthly basis, 300 per month, right? For how long, and then it's significant enough for a starting kind of like a investor. What is there a number to it? Like 10K, 20K, 30K, 5K? Because I've seen a lot of people giving advice on YouTube, right? And I disagree with the numbers.
What is the what do you
like
think?
For example, they say, oh, you just need 1,000 to start. I think that's BS. Or 2,000 to start. I think that's true, but if you want to just get your hands dirty, right, just to experience the platform, how to buy and sell, fine. But in terms of like 1K, 2K, just to really make returns, right, I think it doesn't make sense.
So I think if you put in like an index fund like S&P 500, you don't need much. I think I can agree with 1,000.
No, the reason why I say it's based on the spread. For example, right, not the spreads, right, the returns, right, in percentage. For example, if you invest in 1K and you actually get a 20% return, so a 20% return is $200, right? Yeah. But many platforms, they earn money as well, correct? They earn from exchange fees, right, as well as transaction fees. So if every transaction is $25, for example, one of the brokers I know is called Interactive Brokers, right?
Oh yeah.
I think there's different charges, but there's a few, and they all are quite competitive, right? If you know where to look at. Yes, but let's say the transaction fee is $25 per trade. Then your $25, right, out of $1,000 is really how many percent? 2.5%, right? $20 is 2%. Yeah. So that 2.5%, right, it's into your 20% return. Yeah. Then plus when you put the stockbroker, if it's not based in Singapore, right? If it's if the stock is not bought in Sing dollars, is for example US dollar, then you must change fee. You must put Sing dollar, then you change. You change also, you cannot get the best rate. Right? Yes, the platform gives you the rate to actually change it. So they earn from the exchange rate fees as well. So all these, your 5% or 20% return, right? You have to adjust for all these things if your capital is very small. Correct. So if you always trade, every trade like 1,000, right? Correct. Then it is not worth you could have like gained a lot more. So I feel that number to really see, I'm actually earning money from stocks, right? There's a number to it. It shouldn't be 1K, 2K. But
I agree. Yeah, I agree. But like I said, if you can save probably $200-$300 a month, and you put it in every month, I mean, very quickly it will be a lot of money. It will be actually way more than you think. Yep. And so simple math, but when I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, it's actually a lot. And so and then I reflect because when I looked at that policy, for example, and my dad, who is busy doing his own business, right? And so he doesn't have time. He doesn't actually invest much, almost nothing. And all his time is spent on his business. And a lot of the excess capital, he didn't have I won't say that he didn't have the best advice, but he didn't have great advice to how to utilize it, whether to put it in equities, whether to put in whatever. I mean, of course, he did in property and all that type of stuff. But I think, like, for example, in the reflection of that insurance policy, the amount of gain was probably comparable, maybe a little bit better than a fixed deposit. In which case, this is totally excess capital that can be used.
Yes.
I wouldn't have probably utilized it in that way. Not saying that he did a mistake. I think I'm just learning a lesson that
my dad same.
I have to learn again. Yeah.
I think my dad last time he had a lot of these kind of investments, right? Always lose money. That's why he's very jaded about all these things. Right. So he stopped. So he got a lot of spare cash, but actually he doesn't want to. He's not a risk taker, so he won't do all this. But I take it as I won't be like that. But I can't blame that generation because they don't have as much resource to learn about these things, right?
I mean, we can, like you say, you can open YouTube and you can learn
exactly.
immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I say, like, I mean, we are at a time where opportunity is great in the sense that, yeah, sure, there's always challenges, but opportunity is great as in there's so many feasible ways to multiply your money, and so as to give yourself the opportunity to utilize your time as you wish, and as you wish meaning you'll probably spend a lot of that extra time figuring whether this is right, like for you, or whatever you're doing is right for you, which is a journey in itself and a process.
Okay.
But and also, I mean, like, I love that thinking. I mean, I go back to that thinking of saying, like, okay, if even a very basic investment in S&P 500, then 10 years makes me 3+ times, 3.5 times or something like that, right? Once my capital base is high enough, that means potentially, even if I have a high paying job of paying me, like, I don't know, I mean, we won't say it's very high, but like, let's say it's
you will need to work
200,000 or something like that. Potentially the investment will out earn you.
Correct.
So then you have to question yourself, like, is this worth my time? Right? And so then I think this is where, like, financial freedom starts, right? Because then it's not a bad problem, it's actually a good problem, right? It's bad if you, like, you know, I have friends who, you know, have very, you know, very comfortable lives in the sense that they fly first class, they live in a nice house or apartment, you know, in maybe not here, or maybe here, or maybe in Australia or something like that. But they told me, like, I can't quit.
Can't quit their job, you mean?
Yeah, because all these expenses, the job pays for a lot of the miscellaneous, I mean, all the expenses that they pay, whether they want to stay in a luxury hotel when they travel, that is like 3,000 a night or 2,000 a night, you know what I mean?
That's how they trap them.
Yeah, they get trapped. No, literally get trapped. Right? So I'm like, yeah, you know, I think the next generation has the opportunity to, like, you know, not go through exactly that cycle. But the problem is also you have all these other messages from governments, media, and all this dragging people in different directions.
Yeah.
Actually trying to literally confuse them.
Yeah.
Right.
I totally agree.
Literally trying to confuse them.
Because how I see is that the mass media, right, the growth of the mass media and YouTube and all this Google, all that, enables information to be passed on very rapidly, right? Easily, you can search for anything on the web. But because of that, the truth, right, eventually will get spilled out. So eventually people start to question the system, the things, the status quo.
Yeah.
And I think it is not to the government's interest or incumbents, right, to even like want to play around with that idea or that risk. And therefore, they eventually use the same tools that enables the masses, right, to confuse us. So they just mass information, and they actually do it in a very systematic way, right? By today, it's very, very systematic.
Right.
So they can even use AI, right, to help them actually know exactly what kind of information to put right online when the truth gets spilled out, such that people will see conflicting reports, right, and they will know not to believe the truth actually. So they are doing it in very systematic ways these days.
So I mean, I think from the beginning, I mean, you know this problem closer than me, I think, but like education itself, right? It was not created to
educate.
To educate. It was created for people to follow instructions so that they can work in a pre-industrial world in the factories, follow procedures and whatnot.
It's the nature of free markets, like capitalist society. You can never have true equality because the arrangement of the free market is competition, right? And you want to compete, right, to have max out GDP, for example, and no governments will be able to have will take the risk of, I want all my population, right, to have equality. I'm not going to be in this free market model because then the risk is that your GDP will fall. You won't have enough money to buy weapons. And eventually, right, you have even a more destabilizing risk, right, if somebody attacks you or throws you out of the picture altogether. You get overpowered by other countries. So no country will take that risk. Whoever's in the free market will never be brave enough, right, to steer their population entirely away from the model and forced to not to compete. They will still have to be forced to compete. So because of that, this system will never go away. this education will never go away unless the whole model, right, changes from the roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Changing from the roots.
addicted from the idea of like trying to adjust the experiment from young. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right. There was this article actually. I think at the time when they were trying to, when they founded NASA and they were trying to recruit the brightest people, and the professor was going through basically like trying to find geniuses, and he said like when you look at a very young kid, you could find a high percentage of geniuses in proportion of like the number of people you would survey, and as you go later and later into the education system, it is less and less. So you actually almost like train to drown out the genius of each person. And so for me, it's like what is genius? Genius is not about like being super intelligent or all those other things. Of course, there's a component of that, but
ingenuity.
Genius is literally what we call like natural talent. Right? When we say somebody is naturally gifted, that's genius.
Okay.
Because he didn't have any formal or rigorous training to get to a level that is significant.
Okay.
Right? So that's genius in itself. Right? All the greatest players, all the greatest sportsmen in this world, they will all had that natural gift.
Okay.
They still had to put in the work. But that's the difference is the gift, because they were allowed to. And I think in sport it's actually quite apparent, because when you look at tennis, for example, you follow tennis.
No.
Okay. Basketball maybe.
Yeah.
So basketball, if you see all the greats, they are all great in a different way. So that's genius in itself, because a normal person with a normal framework, if you're looking at using the normal framework, you'll be like, this is the best player, everyone just copy him. And so then you would have basically everyone trying to play like Michael Jordan.
Okay.
But that's not the case.
Yeah.
If that was the case, I think it would have actually less value in the league. Right? But so it's people questioning like Stephen Curry saying, hey, look, wait, the 3-ball, can be the optimal way to play. And he changed the game. All the greats changed the game, right? Shaq had to they changed the rules because of him, because nobody could stop him. And so on and so forth. So I think that is in sport, because it's really true competition in the sense that if you're not good, you lose. Right? In the world of business and other stuff, there can be, like you said, political reasons, connections, all these things that can artificially prop up some people and artificially push down some other people. But in sport, it's almost impossible. If somebody is great, there's no way unless you cheat. Right? So I think that's where this genius plays out, right? Because it's like you can try to copy the best guy, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be a worse version of him, right? So at the end of the day, it's about maximizing your own gifts and your own talents. So that's genius. But in school, we are taught to conform to a certain way, answer in a certain way. This is the model answer. But in life, in reality, when you're faced with a dynamic problem, there is not one answer. There's probably many, and it's an ever-changing game of depends, if you want to say.
I guess let me put it this way. I guess we can't really change the education system, because to change that, you must change the market model that we are living in today, the free market model, capitalist kind of model. But what we should then do would be to at least let students be aware that we are in such a system, and be honest, right? To let them understand that the reason why you're in school is not for you to get real education. And it's okay. It's okay to tell people that. To tell people, maybe not too young, but at least when they are mature enough, right? Tell them that, the reason why all this is important is because you're going to apply for a job next time. And the job, right, we are living in a market model that these jobs will need to find people to perform certain tasks in a very low risk way. They need to know that this person can do this stuff or not. And therefore, that's where you actually apply for the job, using whatever you've learned before in school. And they need to know that out of all the accounting majors, right? They need to know that exactly this accounting and these schools are good enough to know what to do, right, when I actually give you a paperwork. So they must be aware that, okay, therefore your learning, right, in university has to be trained from your JC, your secondary school, your primary school. It's all for that reason. It's not truly to educate you, but we want to try. So there must be time set apart from all this route to learning.
Well, I mean, the cynical way of looking at it is the systems are filtering,
Yeah,
That's what they
you
are.
can put it
So
that way.
you
A
are
filter.
going through a filter.
Yeah, you go through a filter, and that's all it is. The schools is
True.
preparing you
So
for.
my fear is more like, maybe if this advice, potentially 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago was probably relevant and will probably do well for most people. The fear I have today is that somebody can go through all the hoops, they can get a job, and then get replaced by AI.
Correct.
And then because they were just going through the hoops, they played a game where they were like, okay, this is the game. I learned the rules and I know how to play. And I have won this game, so I got my job.
Yeah.
But then now I get replaced by the AI.
What are you gonna do?
I don't even know what game I'm playing.
Mm.
So I think that's why I say that fundamentally education, I want to say education, the systematic manner of somebody looking at what the opportunity in front of them has changed, in the sense that what you're looking at is a game that is dynamic.
Correct.
And it's changing.
Correct.
So the point of the process of the game in itself, meaning the education part of it, the learning part of it, as you develop into potentially going to the professional sector, is the fundamental skill sets that are applicable across different.
I agree. I totally. Therefore, I think now that you mentioned this, I think that it's quite important, and I think schools should really consider, right? At least if they're interested in doing this, I mean, and there's a reason why, because you said it could be replaced by AI. I think that schools should at least take out maybe 20% or 10% of the time, right, and tell them these things. Tell them you need to be aware. The reason why you're going through this is because you're going through a filter eventually. And what if you get replaced? Then you should not just assume that it's the end of the world. So that means right now I need to prepare you in the case that this happens in the future, because we don't know, like tech might just change the whole system altogether.
Yes.
You have to be aware of certain skills, right? And be prepared lah. And one such things you can do is, for example, learning how to learn a new skill from scratch. It can be like maybe every Wednesday, 2 p.m. one lesson. Everybody pick a whole list of skills that you can pick from a list, and then they spend 1 hour every week, right, to learn that thing through a YouTube or through a certain curriculum they create themselves. So the teacher had to check their plan, how you intend to learn this skill in the next 5 months. Every 1 hour you put in lesson, what you're actually going to do. Then they will plan and they will try to learn that skill. It can be a language, it can be learning tennis, whatever. But I think learning how to learn something new, right, is very relevant in today's world because of the resources available to us.
I think just my fear is like the practicality of actually implementing it on a wide scale is very difficult.
Yes, of course.
So I believe, just like any entrepreneur would probably believe in the same, is that change doesn't start from big institutions or big organizations. Change starts because somebody decided. Somebody needs a personal computer. Somebody needs an iPod. Somebody needs an iPhone, and that spurs a change. And the world changes because of that. So I think education almost needs to start that way as well, because it's almost impossible to go about it the other way around, because the whole system is so entrenched, right? These big universities endowments are bigger than some GDPs of countries, right? Like Harvard's endowment is, I don't know how many hundred of billions of dollars. The system in itself is not going to change because it's so profitable. It's like, my brand is so big, I can charge an exorbitant amount of money, like, I don't know, 200,000 a year for somebody to get some paper from me. And not only that, in order to come in, a lot of them also donate. And so I don't see that changing anytime soon, because it's too profitable. It's a little bit like pharmaceutical companies. It's like you can't chop off the hand that's feeding you, because it's like, if I sell drugs that people are reliant on, that don't cure their illness but helps with their symptoms, they are basically relying on me. It's recurring income. So if I suddenly had a magical cure, and in the very extreme case where I couldn't actually patent that cure because it was a natural thing, I literally destroy the business under my feet. So nobody will do that. And in which case, those guys will never be able to change it. And maybe the example of Nokia or like Kodak is a good example. They actually were the ones that probably saw the future already. Like Kodak, actually, they were the ones that created a patent for a digital camera. But they were like, hide it. Because it's going to destroy our film business. But that was the very destruction of their business. once it was too late. So I think in the same way, it's like we can't depend on these guys nor the governments to actually try to change it. Not because they're bad or anything. It's just because it's highly improbable to change a huge system that way. So that's why I'm very interested in like very, very ground up like type of like change from the very beginning. And also because if you teach somebody skills to be adaptable from a very young age, still, skills like how to learn and all that type of stuff, it only becomes easier with time. It becomes almost natural. It's like when you want to take up something new, it's almost like, okay. For somebody else, it'll be like, wow, I want to learn
and it's faster than you think.
I'm sure it will be faster than most people
think.
And also you already have that. I think the biggest barrier we already mentioned over multiple examples is the barrier of the mind. Right? It's like I can't, or I don't have enough yet, or I'm waiting for the future. But when you're an entrepreneur, especially, or when you're somebody that's adaptable, like I mean, very much like this video podcast is like we don't have the right equipment, we don't have the right setting, we don't even have like any structure. But I think that's not the point. The point of this is to have no structure, but the point is to just begin, to start somewhere, and it will be built, right? Because if you want to wait for an ideal situation to, for example, time the market or start a business, you will probably fail, right? You could obviously succeed, but the probability is low. But whereas if you dollar cost your efforts, wherever they may be, whether it's investing in a new project or creating new media or something, you probably
that's a lot of experts are always promoting, and with their own self as an example, right? That small incremental changes always are the ones that help people to actually succeed. Small incremental changes, not a one shot. Oh, I'm ready now, then I go. It's more like daily or like weekly or whatever, consistent small efforts, right? Eventually help you to succeed.
These are the on time.
Habitual things that
are we on the time? I think we need to. You need to go
soon. Oh, it's really how long already?
I don't even know.
Let's get some water first.
Yeah,